Hey, I didn't see you there. But, I guess since you're there, let's do episode 4. So, I figured I would just do a tea update sort of as quickly as I can because life is so busy right now. But I haven't done anything in I don't know how many weeks. So, I sort of owe it to myself and to the people who have requested a video on a tea update. So let me get my notes. Make sure I talk about everything that I want to say. I guess the first thing is most obvious. What's happened in the past 6.5 weeks, I guess almost 7 now, because I started on October 3rd and today is November 20th. So firstly, my voice is different, I think, and I not significantly, but I think it's starting to do the whole crack and vibrating thing, you know. Sometimes I laugh or yell and it does that, you know, it's eek. My hands have changed a little bit. My room is cold, so you can't really see right now, but I definitely have more veins than I used to, and they're a little bit more obvious, which is very fun. My family's not a very hairy family, or at least my brother and my dad aren't, so I doubt that I'll ever get very much hair. But on the bright side, I'll get veins. I definitely have a lot more energy than I used to. It's easier for me to just get up and do a workout. I just got back from a run. I run further also, which I haven't run 6 miles in 6 months until maybe 2 weeks ago. And I was having a tough day and I just ran until I couldn't stand anymore. And I did 6 miles, and then I did that again a few days later. And I've been doing 4 and 5, and so that was cool. Anyway, I'm definitely also eating a little bit more, but not. I don't think I'm eating a whole lot different because I've always been a fan of food, so it's hard for me to say for sure that I'm eating more. I have a lot more mental clarity and alertness, and that's sort of a funky thing to say, but I don't feel as foggy as I used to. It's not as hard to stay awake when I am awake, and if I get enough sleep. And even if I don't get enough sleep, it still feels like I am alert, which is not something that I ever used to feel. I used to have to really work to be alert throughout the day. So that's interesting. Men have an advantage at just thinking. So along the same token of thought and how my thoughts have changed, my emotions have also started to change, not significantly. My emotional experience mostly is the same thing. You know, I still feel the same emotions to to events and to circumstances for the most part, but I can feel the sensation of sadness starting to disconnect from me, if that makes sense. So I'll know sort of that I feel confused by something or upset by something, but I recently had to ask myself, how am I feeling right now? And for the first time in my life, I responded sort of instinctively, I don't know how I'm feeling. And then it took me a few minutes. So I was like, oh, I'm sad. I see. So there's the budding disconnect between my thoughts and my emotions. And I feel anger a little bit more often, but also not as much. And that's just because I think I'm getting T-shots every 2 weeks. So once I am prescribed the testosterone and I can take it home, I think what I'm going to do is cut the dose in half and then do it each week. We'll see if I follow through with that, but that's what I want to do, because the 2-week cycle, I noticed from day 1 after the shot to day 10 or so after the shot, I feel good and stable and strong and energized and enthused by life. But then from day 11 to day 14 or so, my mood starts sort of dropping and going erratic because I think the testosterone levels are starting to dip again. And granted, I've only had a few shots, so maybe that's not a pattern and it's just something I've noticed, right? But it does sort of feel like in those days before the next T shot, I get angrier easily and I'm less patient. My mind sort of jumps around a lot more. Contrary to popular belief, anger from testosterone comes from low testosterone, not high testosterone, right? So it makes sense that as those days go and the testosterone levels dip, my mood would also drop. So yeah, so hopefully I get prescribed soon and I can administer it to myself every week rather than every 2 weeks. I've been thinking a lot about whether or not I have ADD, but no psychiatrist or psychologist or therapist has ever told me I do. So I don't want to like go into that discussion too deep right now, also because I don't want to take up too much of your time or my time. But in those 4 days pre the next shot, my mind starts really, really jumping around, right? And before testosterone, I was always a daydreamer and sort of bad at pushing myself to do things unless there were hard deadlines, and a lot of them all at once. But then when there were a lot of deadlines, I would get anxious and depressed and not be able to fulfill all of my work. And now on T, I have all of the energy of a male, who has ADD, and I like jump around a lot. But I don't know what that is to say, and I don't. If I do have ADD, I wouldn't want to go on medication. Anyway, don't want to get into that. But I've been meditating every day for 10 minutes at least for the past like week and a half, and that's been really, really helpful to like cool myself down, and then also exercising to bring myself back up. So that's how I'm doing on testosterone. That's the general T update. Sorry this was longer than I really anticipated it to be, but I hope you enjoyed. It was a pleasure seeing you and talking to you. I hope you all are doing well. Feel free to reach out anytime. Happy Thanksgiving.